Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Captain Squadron. We're very excited to be in section 31 and a half because we have questions, and those questions are designed for our good friend Matt, the creator and wonderful gentleman that was behind 1701 Blerd Story. How are you and welcome?
I am doing good. Thank you for having me.
Oh,
Thank you.
absolutely, absolutely. Well, we loved your work. Your short
Thank
story
you.
was phenomenal, and as a young Blerd, well, not young anymore, but a Blerd, nonetheless, I was mesmerized by what you were able to do,
Thank
and
you.
yeah, and I'm very glad that you're showcasing something for us to be inspired to do because a lot of us Blerds either like don't share that we are or kind of like just kind of keep it to ourselves and blurt out once we are around people that we know are in that same realm. So it's
Yeah.
nice that you're kind of bringing it to a perspective that people would appreciate.
Yeah. It's that first episode is always I say it's a coming out story. It's a coming out
Mm.
story about being a Star Trek fan.
Yeah, I have something to tell you. What? I'm a Star Trek fan. Oh man.
Get out.
Yeah, exactly. Star Wars only in this place. Lord of the Rings. Well, I'm going to ask the question right away. What inspired you to create a 1701, a Blerd Story, and
uh
how did it take shape?
it went through a couple of evolutions. So initially it started off as a one-man show that I did twice. So I did the one-man show at the Long Beach Playhouse in Long Beach, California. My very good friend Sean Gray directed the show, helped me to develop it because it was just going to be a bunch of monologues and poetry that I had written. And he had said, well, what's the through line here? What's something that we can kind of use to tie it all together? And I just thought, well, I'm a Star Trek fan. How do I tie all this together with different moments in Star Trek, iconic moments in Star Trek that also align with iconic moments in my life?
Mm.
And so that's kind of how it started. So there's a monologue with my cousin who I compare to being Guinan for me.
Mm.
She's giving me advice. I compare my close friends in my close circle. I compare them to Kirk, Spock, and Bones. So that was kind of the start of it. And then I took a shorter version of the solo show to the New York Fringe Festival in 2015. So I took it to New York and then I did it there. And then my ex-boyfriend had said to me, have you ever thought of turning this into like a show, like a series? I said, I don't know what I would do. How would I do something like that? But I took a couple of months and then I came back with the short, which was 1701 Blerd Story. And then after it made it to a few film festivals and I felt like it got good response, I said, well, let me turn this into a series because there are more stories to tell. And that was the evolution.
Ooh, Jason.
So, I have to admit, I'd never heard the term blurred before until I found you online, and I thought it was great. So, as a blurred, what unique perspective do you think that you bring to fandom storytelling?
I think as a Blerd, I think it's the perspective of a person of color. You're seeing things through a different lens. For example, in my web series, we reference the Borg, and for me, the Borg are colonizers. What do the Borg say right before the attack? Your biological and technological distinctiveness will be added to our own. Resistance is futile. You will adapt to service us.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, that's
Very
your
good.
music, your culture, everything that makes you so special is going to service this larger entity. We're going to take over your planet. We're going to colonize your planet. And so one of the characters in 1701 has a monologue saying, racism is basically it's a system. It's colonization, gentrification, assimilation. And then my character says, "Oh, it's the Borg." So there's this perspective when it comes to being a blur that is obviously coming from a person of color that has sees things with a different eye and with a different life experience.
Yeah. So, how long have you been a Star Trek fan? Is it something that you had an affinity for as a child, or was it recent?
Yeah, no, since I was a child. So it started not since birth, but a couple of years post birth.
Okay.
So I want to say 5-6 years old. I tell the story all the time. I was in my rocking chair. I was holding my Grover doll because it was all about Sesame Street. I'm still about Sesame Street. Shout out to
Everybody
Sesame
should be
Street.
Sesame Street. It's a fantastic thing.
But yeah, the way that my mom tells the story is I was holding my Grover doll and she just had Star Trek on the TV, and I think it was an original series episode. I don't remember what it was, but according to her, from then on, I was sold. My earliest memory for me in terms of what I remember seeing was a trailer for the Star Trek Next Generation series finale, All Good Things. That's what I remember most. I remember watching the trailer for that and going, oh, how is it going to end? What's going to happen? And I think that's probably when I knew internally that I cared about this universe and what happened in this world. So
what I loved about those old Star Trek commercials is the guy was really into it. The next time Star Trek, the Next Generation. Like, I've never heard anybody with such until you had such passion about it.
Oh my God. Yeah. You were locked in.
Yeah.
I miss that. I miss
I
those
did too.
those old trailers.
Yeah.
There was nothing like old Star Trek marketing. Just on the next episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Yeah.
So how has your personal journey influenced the themes and tone of your projects?
Ooh, that's a great question. It's been pretty much the blueprint for what I write. It's been the outline of what I write. I try to write what I know most, and what I know most is my life and what I've been through. So the first season of 1701 is coming out as a Blerd. The past experiences of being a black kid, a black queer kid, and what it was like growing up. Those two best friends that I have throughout the series, those are based off of real life people. One of them is played by a real life character. Emerson is one of my good friends. My friend Sammy, who plays the Bones character in the other two episodes, good friend of mine. The two episodes towards the end of the series, there's 3 total, but the 2 episodes towards the end are about my experiences in the queer community, some good, some not so good. There is racism in every corner of the world, and in every community you can find traces of it. And I think that with those experiences that I had in my youth, and then coming out and starting to become part of the queer community, I saw that there were certain things that still weren't quite mirroring the wholeness that the community could be, and so I decided I wanted to write about that. And so the child experiences of growing up, being a person of color, being a nerd, and also the experiences growing up, if you will, in the queer community, they all became part of the first 3 set of episodes. The second season is my response to everything that's been happening in our country in the last year. And I think the gift that this show has given me is to be able to get on my soapbox and talk about things that I'm most passionate about, that I'm most concerned about.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
It's like every time my phone sends me an alert, I'm like, oh no. Yeah. How do you incorporate the humor, the culture, and the fandom references without losing the narrative depth?
I think for me, it's a matter of, because I was just thinking about this the other day. I think it's a matter of being being honest about the moment, about the moment that you're writing, and also not getting so locked into the drama of the situation. Because in life things aren't always dramatic. There's always moments of levity, and I try to think back to like Joss Whedon, for example, in the way that he would write Buffy and Angel. There was drama.
That gets scary when you said Joss Whedon. Joss Whedon.
No,
no, not Joss.
Well, no.
But yeah, old school Joss.
Old school Joss. Just in the terms of how, and I mean, Marvel does it as well. Guardians of the Galaxy, I think, really started to do it in terms of this dramatic moment, and then we've got a little bit of humor in there to lighten it. As long as it comes from a place of honesty. One small example is one of our characters in the second season is talking about why people voted for Donald Trump and what people didn't understand. And the character says, people, half these people can't even spell the word tariff. And then he says, wait, how many R's is it? How many R's do you spell? But I mean, again, little moments of levity in the drama.
Right. Jason.
So why did you choose 1701 as the anchor for your story, and what does that symbolize for you?
1701. I mean, I couldn't say Star Trek, obviously. 1701 for me harkens back to the Enterprise, and in the solo show, there's a final monologue where I talk about identity and how I explain that identity and self-discovery is my personal enterprise. And so, that's kind of where the 1701 came in. And also, obviously for Trekkies as well, to understand that this is the lens, the filter that we're going to explore this character's world in, is going to be through this Trekkie lens, if you will. So that's what inspired 1701.
When did you? I know you do some acting. When did you start that journey? Does it coincide with your own passion project, or?
Yes. So I started acting when I was 13.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I did my
5 years
first.
ago. No.
I wish. No. So my first show that I did was a high school musical called Bye Bye Birdie. That was my first musical. And then, my dad and my mom, I think after they did that first show, they realized that this was it. Like, this is what a kid wants to do.
Yeah.
So my dad and my mom said, well, if this is where we're going to go, you need to excel in this area, and you need to go all out. So we're putting you in acting classes and movement classes and singing classes, and you need to learn your craft. My dad was very much about the research. What's the next High School Musical? Okay, well, let's find a copy of it. Let's watch this. Let's do this. Let's do this.
Oh, wow, what a great dad.
Oh yeah. Dad and my mom were just very much about excellence and going all out with what you do. Now, in terms of my personal journey in making my own work, I think after graduating from college and doing all the things that you're supposed to do in terms of pursuing an acting career, getting the talent agent, sending out letters to casting directors, and all those things, that's the stuff that you're supposed to do. But in my opinion, if you're just doing the things that you're supposed to do, you're asking for permission to do the thing that you love to do. And you shouldn't be asking permission, and you also should not be waiting. My friend Roger said to me one day, because he also actor, very talented director, writer. He just said to me, honey, if you wait, you're going to be waiting forever.
Oh.
And so, I never forgot that. And so, I take that mentality into my into my work. And in addition to not waiting and creating my own opportunities, realizing that for me as an actor, as an artist, especially now, there is a responsibility that I have to talk about things, to share things, to shine a light on things in the best way that I can. And this web series has been a way for me to do that.
So it's become like not only something you're very passionate about, but it's also an outlet.
It's an outlet. It's therapy.
Oh, that's amazing. I love that. I love that. I feel that way about our podcast. It's therapeutic for me.
Yes.
And you need therapy, that's for sure.
Yeah, I do. All right, Jason.
So how do you balance paying homage to Star Trek while creating something original and fresh?
I think it, and that is something that I've learned in the doing and the writing, and even getting feedback from close friends that are also actors and artists that I trust, and getting their feedback as well. And my friend Melissa, very talented actress, my friend Melissa, she was talking to me about the web series, and I was talking about something that I was editing or something that I think that I wanted to throw in. And I was like, but I don't have the budget for this. I don't have that kind of money, and blah, blah, blah. And she said, Matt, remember, this is not a Star Trek show. This is your show. And that is when it really started to click that, Star Trek, again, it's the lens, right? It's the way in, it's the references, the bits. But it's still my story. It's still my life. And that's the most important part of it. So.
Very good. How did the creative process kick off for you? Like, aside from the writing and the acting, it looks really good.
Thank you.
For the budget that I'm sure you don't have. So, how did you achieve that? Because when I first saw it, I was like, wow, this looks really good. So it's like, oh, did he do a Kickstarter, or you just?
So no, the first season was out of pocket. The first episode, I was just blessed enough to find people that just were fellow sci-fi fans. The cinematographer, in general, his name is Frank. Frank had made other sci-fi shorts, and he's a sci-fi fan himself. So my friend, one of my friends, connected me with him, and I told him about the what would be the pilot episode, the short film, and I said, this is what I want to do, and I said, this is the idea, this is the concept. I don't really have the money to pay you to do this. And he was like, oh, don't worry about it, it'll be fine. Okay, so when do you want to film? Like, oh, well, these are the days I like to film, blah blah blah. Great, okay, so I'll see you on that day. It's okay, so remember, I don't have I can get you a sandwich, I can get you some coffee, like, it's fine, just I'll see you on the day. And God bless him, he was on the journey, and he was on the ride. He took his time, with those shots. That first episode, we would be there setting up the shot, and he would stop and he would look at it and go, it's not beautiful, wait, and then he tweaked something, and then the next two episodes, my friend Sammy, who plays Bones, was friends with the cinematographer for the second two episodes, Garrett Stotko, that's his name, the cinematographer. Garrett Stotko was the cinematographer, and so my friend Sammy was good friends with him and brought him in for the other two episodes. And Garrett is just he's working, he's doing good for himself.
Good.
And he brought his talents in, and I, in terms of being an actor, and writing this and directing this, I have the picture in my head, and I try to make the storyboards as detailed as I can, so by the time that I give it to Garrett can say, okay, this is how we do this, there's something really funny, in particular, that I think back to now, is there's a shot in the third episode of like those Borg lasers cutting through the darkness. And I thought of first contact
Yeah.
There's like the montage in First Contact where the Starfleet officers are on the Enterprise and they're fighting the Borg, and the Starfleet officers get into this dark room and they're trying to figure out where the Borg are, and all of a sudden you see these dark lasers cutting through through the darkness. And I remember saying to Garrett, "Can we do that? How do we do that? How do we do that? I want to do that." And so he said, "Okay, well, we'll get some haze and we'll blah blah blah, and we'll get the lasers to blah blah blah." And then I went back and I watched that montage scene in First Contact afterwards, and I said, "Oh, that's CG. Those aren't real red lasers." I was like, "Oh," but to Garrett's credit, Garrett was like, "This is what we're gonna do. I got it. So
and it came out great. So
thank you. That's it's testament to him and his eyes. So
always give respect to those practical in-camera effects.
Yeah.
Yes.
For sure.
Can you walk us through your creative process from concept to execution?
Yes, most of the time it's very interesting. So for me, it's not structured, it's not linear. It's not linear, as the prophets would say. For me,
DS9.
that's my show.
Same.
I can only describe it as it kind of being like a download. You're kind of in a download. I don't know if you guys know who Erykah Badu is, but she's like my favorite vocal artist. And Erykah Badu, Jill Scott as well, they kind of describe moments where you're getting ideas as download moments. And so for me, it'll be hearing a piece of dialogue in my head, or just seeing a scene play out in my head, playing scenes in my head, and then making sure that the moment that it gets in my head that I write it down somewhere, because the stuff will go as fast as soon as it comes to you. If you're not careful, you'll lose it. But I think for me, that's kind of where it starts. Sometimes it will be a Star Trek element that will jog the mind in reverse, and I'll go, well, what does this Star Trek moment make me think of in my personal life? And so I think a great example of that is for example, in the second season, I wrote an episode which is basically comparing drag culture to Klingon culture.
That's dope.
And
I love that.
I've talked about the story before, but there was a moment. So before I wrote the episode, I wanted to make sure that I did as much research as possible so I can pay respect as much as possible to drag history in the episode. So I also went to, drag performances. I went to my first ball last summer, and the host said to the competitors before they got on stage, "Prepare to play, slay, and destroy."
Oh, that's very Klingon.
That is, yes, that is incredibly Klingon, and that is going in the script. So it's always a download process, and then making sure that whatever little bit of dialogue that I heard, whatever scenario that I'm thinking of, I write it down, and I'll revisit it later on. Or maybe it's kind of like a puzzle where, okay, there's this little piece and I got to figure out, where does this fit here? Where does this fit here? I know it's supposed to go somewhere. But that's kind of how that works. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes.
Total.
Order from chaos.
Yeah.
Yes.
Again, perfect Klingon analogies. What challenges have you faced trying to bring this to fruition, like bringing the Blerd story to life, and how did you overcome them? Because there's a lot of people that have their own visions and stories that they want to bring, and they're not sure how to overcome the challenges that they face. Like, I know you were talking about budgetary and relying on friends, but
yeah,
what else would you say?
I think what else I would say, sometimes it is the personal fear, the personal doubt, wonder, is anybody going to get it? Is this not so much as it's a story worth telling? How vulnerable am I going to go here? How ugly am I going to go with this? How honest am I going to be? How will the audience respond to that? And especially in the second season of the show, there's a lot of honest moments about how I feel about things, referencing certain things, and there'd be moments where I would be writing and then I'd have to stop because I would say to myself, do I want to tell that story? Do I want to be that honest? What is the response going to be to me being that honest about this? One of the hardest episodes, or one of the challenges for me in terms of writing the second season especially, was writing from a very personal place in regards to someone that was very close to me, someone that I called a brother, that I lost to MAGA, to white supremacy. Someone that I had known for 20 plus years of my life. And when I say closest to me, he was closest to me. And writing that story and, kind of talking about, if you will, because again, these three characters in the web series are based off of real life, are based off of my friends. And so, in the second episode, we see the person that was responsible for bringing these guys together. He was like the anchor. We all have that friend that kind of brought the group together, and we go and we follow these characters from, elementary school to adulthood, and we see how the friendships evolve with each other, and we see how they kind of one by one fall away. And it was, again, that was a more painful one to write because it was coming from a very honest place. Writing about how sometimes you got to let people go. So I think to answer your question, it's overcoming the personal doubts, and I think realizing that if I'm going to be honest and truthful to myself, I owe it to myself to go all the way in the work, and I think I owe it to other people as well, people that are going to watch, to go all the way as well, because someone else out there might have the same story or might be struggling with the same thing. And if I can't offer a resolution, I can at least say in that moment to this other person, hey, me too.
I find it interesting that currently that whole cultish following that they had is kind of eating itself now.
It is. And I knew it was going to happen. Because the foundation wasn't a solid foundation, right? And when the foundation isn't solid, it's eventually going to crumble. And when I looked at, when you look at Donald Trump in his first term and the way that he treated the people that worked under him, and the way that one by one people were coming out saying, don't work with this dude, or like, people, how many, oh my gosh, how many speakers did he go through? Not House speakers, but press secretaries.
In the beginning.
How many press secretaries did he go through in the first term?
It was the one they made fun of. Melissa McCartney brilliantly played him on Saturday Night Live.
Was it Scaramucci?
No, that was the last one.
That
was the in between. It was Sean something.
Oh, him.
Yeah, I remember. Spicer, yeah. Then he went to Dancing with the Stars. That whole politician thing didn't work out. I'm gonna go dance.
Whoever. Under any president, even though this is a dictator that we have now, when you're working that position, it's already stressful, right? Now, if you're working under that position with somebody that lies like it's breathing, I can't begin to imagine the stress that you are under every day. And I'm not trying to say that to make people feel for what's her
any
name?
of them.
To make people feel for any of them. It's just, I would watch people in that first term in that position, and I would say, aren't you tired? You've got to be exhausted. You've got to be exhausted. I'm so sorry, I went on a tangent.
No, that's fine. It's fine. Don't worry. This is an open, free space. You have nothing to worry about. So, and if somebody has some rude comment, it just guess what? We run the comments. Delete.
we'll just look for any misspelled comments down there.
And then oh, that's it.
There's one. How do you incorporate humor and culture and fandom references without you losing your narrative depth?
I think again, it's all about just being honest, right? Like one example that I think of is in the third episode. My character is talking to my good friend Tia about this date that I went on in the previous episode, and it turns out that the guy was fetishizing my character because I was black, and he had never been with black men before, and it was this whole fantasy that he had, and blah blah blah. And when you see in that second episode, when you see Matt go on the date, he goes to this guy's place, he sees a bunch of he sees black art on the walls, he sees all this stuff. The character says to Matt, Jake Sisko was my sexual awakening, all these little
fun stuff.
all these little things, right?
Yeah.
Not
and-
Jake.
Where it's like, I mean, all respect to Sirach Loft, and yeah, he's a cutie patootie, and yes, that can be someone's sexual awakening, but we see, again, as Matt looks around that character's room, it gets worse and worse and worse until we see an African fertility picture on the table, and he's like, oh no.
Oh no. Looking
so-
for the exits.
Right?
Yeah.
But in that moment, Matt goes through the date anyway because he's a little naive. And then we get to the third episode where he's talking to his friend Tia about this date and how it went horribly wrong. And so she says to him, okay, so you saw all those context clues in his place, and you're surprised that he called you the N-word while you guys were having sex. So it's again, it's the honesty, right? It's being honest about it. And in addition to that, the character of Tia that Matt is confiding in addition to Tia being this honest with him and kind of reading him about, what happened, who in Star Trek would do something like that? Guinan. So when Matt is, sitting there talking to his friend Tia, getting read for filth in a loving way because she's, she's his friend, he sees Guinan just looking at him saying, oh, honey, okay. Okay. Does that make sense, Jason?
Absolutely. It makes perfect sense.
We've all been on a weird date where I just gotta jump on that really quick. I hope you don't mind.
Please.
We've all been. I had one where at the end of the date, the person said, "Don't look at me," and that was like a uh-oh, and a type of red flag that was like, what's going on here?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, okay, and I just kept looking away, and then I wasn't driving, and the car came, and I said, all right, I don't know, this is kind of awkward, so I'm just gonna part ways. I stuck my hand out. I'll see you later. Just a handshake, and it was just no matter what I could do, it just wouldn't work.
Oh no!
And then
no!
And I replay the date in my head, and I'm like,
yes.
Oh, I should have picked up on the when we got drinks, the way that they grabbed the drink and they wanted to kind of be in control, and I never caught that. Yeah, context clues are important, baby.
But again, in terms of the writing process and that, it's about being honest about all those little moments, and then in terms of the Trek, finding those moments in Trek where you put it in, again, talking about the Borg and colonialism and white supremacy and all that stuff, throwing the Borg in there. They make their appearance again in season 2 of the show when it comes to talking about MAGA and all that stuff. They show up again. So it all finds a way. It all finds a way in.
Yeah. So how do you see 1701 contributing to the broader Blerd community? How do you think that other Blerds that maybe don't even know Star Trek but have your experiences, because you have a really good amalgamation of both? How do you
Uh,
perceive that happening?
I think again, it's showing that blurred perspective, that perspective of a person of color in this fandom world, or in the real world, and processing their thoughts through the fandom lens.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just the mixture of, for me, the Black experience, the queer experience, and connecting that with real life, and how is this person going to process, how does this blurred process life, what is the best way for them to cope with what's happening right now in the moment. Oh, for me, Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
So best way for me to process this moment, I'm the captain of the Enterprise, I'm trying to figure out how to deal with the situation. My two best friends in my real life are Spock and Bones in my Star Trek life. And Spock is going to help me to look at the situation logically, and I'm going to analyze the logic. Bones is going to come at it with the emotion and help me not to lose sight of that. And I'm going to find the balance between the two and make the decision, much like the formula that Gene Roddenberry had for Kirk, Spock, and Bones in the original series. It's just, we're taking it more to a more personal, one-on-one place.
Gotcha.
So, what conversations do you hope your work sparks about diversity in fandom places?
I think for me, it's, for one, I wanted to say we have a place here. I think that's one of the biggest things, to say that we have a place in this fandom, in this nerd community, and we exist. Shout out to Sci-Fi Sisters, who, when I saw the Sci-Fi Sisters podcast, that was the first time that I had seen Black women in a
nerddom
podcast space, in nerd, right? In nerd.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Yeah.
So
I had my mom. My mom was a blerd.
Yes, same
Before
here.
it was a word, my mom was a blerd.
Yes.
And I'm rocking the Cosmic Space Mom. She recently passed, unfortunately, but she put me on to all the things that are just absorbed. And if you look behind me, you can see like the Enterprise G and D, and I've got Lily from First Contact. Their figurine, because it was like, oh, my mother always told me that, hey, the reason why I like Star Trek so much is because I see myself in it. Like my father, my grandfather, her father, was a lieutenant in the police force, and as a 6'2" Black man, unapologetically Black. It's not every day that we get to be both nerd and fighter. So it's always been, I always listen to the Sci-Fi Sisters because it's like, oh, it's listening to my mom, like have a conversation with myself. It's that type of the joy that you get.
And I think that's another part of adding to this conversation as well, is, in addition to saying that I have a place in this nerddom, in this world, it's also, I believe, saying that I am not the stereotype.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not this one aspect of being queer. I'm not this one aspect of Blackness that, so often the media still compartmentalizes people of color too. It's interesting to, sometimes be at a convention or be in a space out there walking around somewhere, and someone realizes that you're a Star Trek fan, or that you know about this reference, and they go, oh, well, I never thought that you would. So why didn't you think that I would?
Yeah. It's because you're fit. No, I'm kidding.
I mean, one of the best, I think it was a compliment, and it also raised my awareness to that what I was still considered an anomaly, was years ago when I took the solo show to the New York Fringe Festival. One of the heads of the festival was interviewed about the different shows that they had, And he said at one point, we really tried to bring in some different works. Where else are you going to see a show about a gay black nerd professing his love for Star Trek?
Yeah, there you go. Well done.
And I was like, well, that's
breaking
good press.
barriers, man. Yeah.
But also it's like I exist here. So.
Yeah. So where do you see the next point for the evolution of 1701, a Blerd Story? What's next?
I think so. We've got the second season right now. I'm gonna fundraising. The page is coming out soon. Been working on the page.
Make sure you come back and tell us so we can share. And
yes,
help. Yeah,
absolutely. So fundraising for the second season and filming the second season probably mid next year. I think for the evolution, the next evolution, it would probably be to do maybe do a movie to tie it up.
Ooh.
To tie it up. I already have ideas. I want it to be about something. I don't want to just make something to just make something and put it out there. I want it to be about something, which is why, again, that first season was about coming out as a Trekkie and experiences in the queer community and talking about racism in the Borg. And the second season is talking about white supremacy and the Borg and how do you confront fascism and fight fascism. The third season, the next generation, I think, would be a movie to tie it up with another something to talk about, as long as it feels honest and it's coming from an honest place. My fantasy, if I could tie 1701 into the Star Trek universe. What I would do is I would have it be, with keeping the formula of the show of this person seeing characters pop up as Klingons and the Borg and Spock and Dr. McCoy and all that stuff. My fantasy would be to have this character be like a modern day Benny Russell. And what is a modern day Benny Russell in the 21st century? He might still be writing, he might be writing at a science fiction for a science fiction paper, but he might be a social media personality and sharing his thoughts that way. Again, how does he process MAGA? How does he process white supremacy? He sees the Borg. And this could all be because the prophets are, they work outside of time. Time is not linear for them. There could be a Benny Russell in, I think, every century, in every pivotal moment in time.
I agree.
So that would be my pitch to make it still part of the Star Trek universe, is that this is just the flip side of that Far Beyond the Stars story, and we're following Benny Russell processing these different characters as alien species, and it can't quite tell why, but maybe somewhere in this other life he was a starship captain, and that's why he's seeing things this way. He's trying to process it, like, why am I seeing this person as the Borg? Why is this person showing up as Guinan? Why is this person showing up as Major Kira? Like, who are these people? Where did these people come from? I don't know if that makes sense, but that would be my fantasy.
Because it's real to me. Oh man, that is the most powerful performance on television, I think, still to this day.
To this day, yeah.
And the goosebumps. Like I recently watched it again because I dealing with loss, everybody does it differently, and I've been rewatching things that made me happy with my mom.
Yes.
Until I got to Lord of the Rings and I was bawling, but
yes.
But I just remember watching that episode. I was like, wow, Avery Brooks is just
powerhouse.
Yeah.
Powerhouse. Yeah. And I remember watching that episode for the first time with my mom and not being able to process everything that was going on. Like, I obviously got a little bit here and there. Obviously this black writer in the 1950s, he can't get a story published, and I got that. Mm-hmm. But not understanding the pain that came along with that, the history that came along with that monologue, everything that was working internally with Benny and with Avery Brooks as well, while he's delivering those lines and delivering that piece. The thing that I think of the most is my mother's reaction to that monologue. And when Benny says, I created this world and it's real. And my mother just started applauding.
Hmm.
And she just started clapping while he was applauding and crying. And I was, as a kid, I was like, why is she clapping at this moment? I don't understand. But
Yeah.
now that I'm older, I get it more, you know.
Oh yeah.
So if you could collaborate with any creator or franchise, who would you choose and why?
I mean, it would be Star Trek. I know, I just keep going back to Star Trek.
It's gonna stay in Star Trek.
It would be Star Trek. I just think, I think that being fully authentic and honest, I think that Star Trek now more than ever needs to talk about what's happening in the real world again. And I think we see bits and pieces of it in some of the other later Treks that we've had, but I think that Star Trek has never played it safe. I think especially in the 60s when it was coming out, Star Trek didn't play it safe.
Nope.
You know,
that's what was brilliant about it. The first interracial kiss, and
someone Russian on the bridge,
right?
Someone black on the bridge, like
someone black in a role of power,
a role. Yes.
Yeah.
So, it didn't start off safe, and if it's going to survive, Star Trek cannot be safe. It cannot just be seen as a cash cow. It can't be seen as just entertainment. It's got to go there. So I would, if I were to work with a franchise, it would be Star Trek, and to bring Star Trek to that place of going there and being honest and telling those stories. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
No. So go ahead.
No, I think that's it.
Okay. No, some of the best Trek is dealing with the social injustice, and it really puts a mirror to our society when they dive into the proper writing of it. Yeah. Where it's not just, hey, we need to make money. Let's have more spaceship battles. You know, it's really powerful when there's espionage and when there's political unrest and the undertows and the spies and that type of deep storytelling is always what I loved about Star Trek.
And when you look at the influential power of Star Trek in terms of the stories and the honesty, I always say this. I look at people that Star Trek has influenced. AOC, inspired by Captain Janeway. Stacey Abrams, inspired by Captain Janeway. Now in canon, the president of the president.
Yeah, that's right. She was. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Hakeem Jeffries, I believe, Star Trek fan. Barack Obama has an appreciation for Star Trek. Robert Garcia, he's one of the Democratic representatives right now. Used to be the mayor of Long Beach.
Oh, okay. By you.
Yeah, over by me. Major Star Trek fan.
Oh, wow.
Star Trek has the power, and because of the message, right? Star Trek has the power to influence change, and it's got to be taken that seriously. And I don't mean taken so seriously to the point that we can't laugh and have some fun along the way, because we absolutely can. I'll say with the new Treks, we found a way to bring in levity and humor and all that stuff. But now we've got to get back to talking about stuff.
Yeah, we
got to get back to talking about stuff.
One thing I noticed on your social media, and I'm not stalking you, I promise. No, but so you hung out with Sean Farrick and STLV last year.
Yes,
and you guys shared the stage together. Was that who interviewed who, and how did that come out?
Oh, I think no. Sean needed someone come in and be on the panel with him, and he was like, "Hey, can you dip in?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, I'll dip in." Our friendship started during the pandemic, because I started watching Trek culture on YouTube, because I was in the house. Everybody was in the house at that point during the pandemic. And I followed him, and not to get too personal, but there were a lot of things that were happening for everybody during the pandemic, but with me specifically, with family members and losing people, people that had passed away. A lot was happening that year, and so Sean had just happened to reach out and just say, hey, how's it going? And I was like, you know what, not well. It's and Sean said, oh, do you want to talk? And and he listened, and that from there, he's never stopped checking in. And so that that means a lot. That means a lot to me to this day still. How you doing? You all right? You
good? Yeah.
So
the funny thing is about Sean, he's such a approachable guy and such a caring individual. He does that with a lot of people.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised. It's like because my mother passed and he reached out and was like, I know you're not okay, so I'm not going to ask that, but I'm here to talk. And it's just incredible to have somebody like him in your circle of trust. So that's awesome. And the experience, did you have a booth? Did people come up for autographs? How was that feel? That's got to be a weird experience. Or are you just like, yeah, sure, whatever?
I mean, if I'm being completely honest, that I think like the majority of the audience was there because of Trek culture. And there were some people that had seen the work that I had done as well. People did come up and speak to me after the panel, because I think that they heard the things that I had to say. They heard about the series. It was, I think what I took away from that experience was that people actually do listen to what you have to say.
Yes.
People actually listen, which is a very heartwarming thing, because again, especially in terms of art, you make something and I don't know if people are going to get this. I'm kind of throwing this out there and I'm going to see what happens. I hope that somebody gets it. I hope that someone listens. So in that moment in time, to realize that people are listening, or realize that people have watched something, it means a lot. And also I think just in general, the Trekkie community, the conventions, I always describe them as like family reunions. It's just family reunions, and for me a pride event.
Yeah, I can see that.
For friends that aren't Star Trek fans, when I describe a Star Trek convention to them, I just say, just imagine going to Pride. It's if you are there, you're either somewhere in the family or you're an ally and you're supportive. Like that's that's a major part of that. So the community has been something that I've grown to love in the last couple of years.
Yeah, it's a very loving and warm community. Sometimes when you're in distress and the community gets behind you, they manage to help and alleviate your sadness. So that's why I think a lot of people turn to Star Trek, is because aside from the show being inspiring, everybody around you is kind of getting the same morality lessons and is inspiring too.
Yeah.
I remember running into you at Trek Long Island.
Long Island, yes.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I think I don't have all the pictures, but I do have the one where I saw you take a pic real quick. So I think Jason, you took that picture.
Yes, that's why it popped so well.
Yeah, that's true.
And that my mother's dog looks just like that.
Oh, really?
Yes, my mother's dog looks just like that.
Oh my God, is it a Yorkie? Maltipoo?
I think he's a Maltese.
Yeah, same.
He's a Maltese.
Teddy's a demon, so that's good.
Teddy. So when Jason spent the night here during the Trek Long Island before, Teddy was hurting everybody in their respective spaces. Okay, you need to go in this room. That's how I like to say it, but they're like, your dog is a demon.
And Jason, I remember
Teddy's one of the few life forms on this planet who knows what my posterior tastes like.
Jason, I was gonna say, I remember speaking to you about this a little bit when I started at Long Island, but the first time that I had seen you was on TikTok.
Oh,
when you were talking about your when you were doing the Star Trek Star Wars crossover Story.
Oh,
And my ex-boyfriend was like, "Hey, have you seen this?" I'm like, "No." And then I just like kept watching them because I just love crossovers in general. And I mean, I guess as as unnecessary as a Star Trek Star Wars crossover would be, part of me still wants to see it
Oh my
happen
gosh, yeah.
because I'm so curious. So when I saw that, I was like, "Oh my god, this is so interesting."
I remember I was like so geeked out. I was like, oh my god, 1701 Blerd knows who I am. Wow.
Oh man, it's your question, I think, Jace.
Oh, is it? Okay. So I don't know what question we're on. If you could captain any starship, which one would it be and why?
Ooh.
Yeah, we're gonna get into the nerddom.
There we go. Okay. Any starship, any class of starship?
Any starship. You walk on board, you kick the captain out of the ship and go, look at me. I'm the captain now.
Yep.
Ooh. I mean, okay, so I mean, obviously I would love to be the captain of the Enterprise. Obviously, I think I love the Enterprise E. I love that. I love that design. But I think if we're going like nerddom, I love the Ross class. The Ross class is
okay.
from Star Trek Online. It's like a marriage between
The D and the C.
yeah. That's, I don't know. I'm obsessed with that design. I love it. I love it.
And they named that after Admiral Ross, who
I think they did.
The actor died, but not the well, not on screen anyway. The character.
I met him once.
No, really.
I met him once. Sorry, quick tangent. Quick small.
No, please. Yeah.
So I went to Cal State Long Beach. That was where I got my theater degree. I think he was dating one of the grad students at the time.
Oh.
And so when you're an undergrad student, you're required to go see a certain amount of the undergrad shows that the theater program is putting on and the grad shows. So I go to see the grad show and I happen to sit right next to him.
Oh my
and I
god.
turn and go, oh my god,
Admiral Ross.
Admiral Ross. And so I don't think that I told him that I was a Star Trek fan because I didn't want him to freak out and I didn't want him to, because sometimes you just never know how people are going to react.
Yeah.
I don't think that he would have had a negative reaction, but you just never know. So I stayed quiet. But my friend Josiah, who was also in the theater program with me, who was also a major Star Trek fan, was like just hanging out in the theater building doing some homework. And so at intermission, I like walked over to the student break room and I saw Josiah. And I said, Josiah, guess what I just saw? I just saw Admiral Ross. And he goes, oh, I said, I know.
Oh my goodness. Matt, thank you so much for joining us here. This was such a fun and uplifting hour that we had to share.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I gotta ask, what uniform would you prefer if you were captain? What era?
Ooh. Oh gosh. Okay.
This is a random like nerd question.
No, it's fine. Oh gosh, they're so okay. So I love the First Contact uniform, but I also really like the oh my gosh, okay, this is like a deep cut. So it is the uniform that Admiral Michael Burnham's son is wearing in the series finale of Discovery.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I like that one.
I love that uniform, and I also love the new Academy uniforms as well.
Okay, yeah, well, I had to think about it for a second because it's like I don't remember very much, and then I realized, oh yeah, they have like the suit type of thing where it's like the two halves.
Yeah, like those are.
I think color scheme is pretty dope.
Yeah, those are my favorites. I'm trying to think, are there any others out there?
I'd wear a scant.
Yes.
I mean, you guys are tall enough for scants. I'm not. It would just be like,
you know what? You
I'm a system of truth.
Scant, though.
I love that the scant is coming.
I got the legs for it, so it's cool.
The scant is back. I love that the scant is back, though. And
it's being worn by a Klingon. My gosh, I just love it. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Look at my legs. They are honorable legs.
So please let everybody know where they can find you, what's coming next, and when they should be prepared to see your next projects.
Okay, so you can find me on at 1701 BLERD on Instagram, on Threads, on Blue Sky, on TikTok. That's where I'm putting out all my 1701 of Blerd, 1701 of Blerd Story content, updates on my my Indiegogo page that I'm putting out as well. So keep an eye open for that, because that's going to be how I get to film season 2 and fundraise season 2. Again, season 2, I'm hoping to film mid next year. Let's see, what else? I also do a oh god, what is the word? Film critic podcast called Cinema Z on BQN. So keep an eye open for that as well. There's a short film that I did called Jamal that's going to be turned into an anthology series on Here TV, and I'll be filming that early next year in January. But yeah, at 1701 BLERD on Blue Sky, Instagram, Threads, TikTok, and my personal one is at MLGen, and that'll be on Instagram and on Blue Sky.
Awesome. Again, thank you so much for taking the time to hang out with us. We really appreciate it. We're absolutely grateful, and we will see you soon. So live long and prosper.
Peace and long life. I had a ball. Thank you.
Awesome. Just hang around. We'll be right in.